The phone's glow sliced through the dark bedroom like a knife. I blinked at the clock, 2:17 a.m., and listened to the soft giggle drifting from the living room. My wife, Elise, was on another work call. Her voice, low and warm, carried a tone I hadn't heard in months, not since the early days when we'd stay up whispering dreams into the night. I lay still, my chest tightening, wondering why a project manager needed her at this hour. The air felt heavy, like it was holding a secret I wasn't ready to face. Elise had been different lately. She'd linger at the office, her heels clicking later each evening. She'd smile at her phone during dinner, her fingers dancing across the screen, dismissing my questions with a breezy, "Just work stuff, Tom." I'd nod, swallowing the unease, telling myself it was nothing. She loved me. 12 years, a mortgage, and a daughter's crayon drawings on the fridge said so. But love doesn't giggle at 2 a.m. for a coworker named Greg. I slipped out of bed, the hardwood cold against my bare feet, and crept to the doorway. Elise sat on the couch, her silhouette framed by the phone's light. "No, you're ridiculous," she whispered, her voice playful, intimate. My stomach churned. Greg, her work husband, as she'd once called him with a laugh, was on the other end. I'd met him at the company picnic. Tall, charming, with a handshake too firm and eyes that lingered on her too long. I'd brushed it off. Just a friendly colleague, I told myself. Now each word she spoke felt like a pinprick to my trust. The next morning, Elise was all smiles, pouring coffee as our daughter, Mia, scribbled at the kitchen table. "Late night?" I asked, keeping my tone light. She froze just for a second, before flashing a smile. "Yeah, Greg's team is swamped. Deadlines." Her eyes didn't meet mine. I sipped my coffee, the bitterness mirroring the doubt pooling in my gut. I wanted to believe her. I wanted the life we'd built, the Saturday pancake mornings, the way she'd hum while folding laundry, to be enough. But the late-night calls kept coming, each one a crack in the foundation. I started paying attention. Her phone was locked now, a new habit. She'd leave the room to text, her laughter muffled behind closed doors. At night, she'd turn away from me in bed, her breathing uneven, like she was guarding something. I told myself I was paranoid. Elise wasn't the type. She was the woman who'd cried when I proposed, who'd held my hand through Mia's fevered nights. But doubt is a quiet poison. It seeps in slow and relentless, until you can't ignore the taste. One evening, while she showered, I checked her laptop. It was open, a careless mistake. An email from Greg sat in her inbox, the subject line innocuous, "Project update." But the words inside weren't. "Last night was fun. Let's do it again soon." My heart thudded. I scrolled through their thread. Hundreds of messages, some professional, others not. "You make these late nights bearable," he'd written. "Miss you already," she'd replied. I felt the air leave my lungs, the room tilting. This wasn't just flirting. This was a betrayal dressed in work jargon. I didn't confront her. Not yet. Anger burned, but so did love, and the two tangled inside me like wires. I needed proof, something undeniable, something that would force her to face what she'd done. I started tracking her patterns. The late nights weren't always at the office. She'd come home with her hair slightly mussed, her perfume too fresh. I checked our bank statements. A coffee shop charge here, a bar tab there, places she'd never mentioned. Each discovery was a shard of glass in my chest, but I kept going, driven by a need to know how far she'd gone. One night, she said she was meeting a client. I followed her. The city lights blurred as I trailed her car to a dimly lit bar downtown. Through the window, I saw her with Greg, their heads close, her hand brushing his arm. She laughed, the sound carrying even through the glass, and it gutted me. This was the woman who'd promised forever, now sharing pieces of herself with someone else. I didn't storm in. I didn't yell. I sat in my car, hands shaking, and let the pain carve itself into me. The next day, I called in sick and dug deeper. Greg wasn't just bold, he was careless. His LinkedIn profile bragged about his role as senior manager, but a quick search revealed complaints on anonymous workplace forums. Inappropriate conduct. Favoritism. A pattern. I found his work email on the company site and cross-referenced it with Elise's messages. They'd been using company servers for their late-night chats, a rookie mistake. I screenshot everything, my hand steady despite the ache in my chest. This wasn't just about us anymore. Greg had crossed lines that could cost him more than a marriage. I contacted HR anonymously, attaching the emails with a detailed report. I didn't mention Elise by name. I couldn't bring myself to destroy her completely, not yet. But Greg? He'd made his choices. The fallout was swift. By the end of the week, whispers spread through Elise's office. Greg was escorted out, his career in ruins. I heard it from a friend who worked there, who called it a sudden termination. I felt no joy, only a hollow satisfaction. He'd thought he was untouchable. He was wrong. Elise came home that night, her face pale. "Greg's gone," she said, her voice shaking. "They fired him. No one knows why." I watched her, searching for guilt, for regret, but her eyes were unreadable. "That's rough," I said, my tone neutral. She nodded, then excused herself to the bathroom. I heard the faucet run, masking whatever sounds she didn't want me to hear. That's when I knew. She wasn't just grieving a colleague. She was mourning a loss I'd never understand. I waited until Mia was asleep before confronting her. We sat at the kitchen table, the same table where we'd planned our future. "Elise," I said, my voice low, "I know about Greg." Her eyes widened, then darted away. "It's not what you think," she stammered. "He was just a friend." But her voice cracked, and the lie crumbled. I laid out the evidence. The emails, the bar, the late-night calls. She didn't deny it. She just sat there, tears streaming, whispering, "I'm sorry. I didn't mean for it to happen." She said she'd felt neglected, that work had been her escape, that Greg had made her feel seen. I listened, my heart breaking not just for me, but for the woman I'd loved, now reduced to excuses. "I never stopped loving you," she said, reaching for my hand. I pulled away. Love wasn't enough anymore. Trust was gone, and without it, we were just strangers sharing a house. I moved out the next week, taking only what I needed. Mia cried when I explained I'd be living somewhere else for a while. Elise begged me to stay, but her words felt hollow, like echoes of a life we'd lost. I didn't yell. I didn't break things. I just left, carrying the weight of 12 years and a betrayal I'd never forget. In the end, Greg lost his job, and Elise lost her marriage. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't need to. I'd raised the stakes, and that was enough.